wanted to talk about the difference between number 3 and number 5. In all of my Sew Hungry Hippie patterns, you can use either size in the pattern. It won't change. And for the most part, for lots of patterns that are out there, you can switch it out and be okay. If it's super important regarding the width, hopefully they'll say that in the pattern. Let's go overhead and I'll show you. This one here is a number 5. That means it's, yeah, go ahead. That means it's 5 millimeters across, and this is the pull that goes with it. This is a number 3. See how the teeth are much smaller and the tape is less wide. See that? And this is the pull for the number 3. The number 4.5 is in between the two. I don't sell 4.5. And the zipper jig is just for number 3 and number 5. You can probably make it work in a pinch to add a 4.5 if you use those zippers. But this is what I use. And I'm going to show you really quickly. On here, there is a number 3 and a number 5. So you want to make sure the pull that you're putting on is for the correct tape. And it's in the correct slot here when you're adding.
It's in the way.
Yeah, I have to move my head, but I had to see. Sorry, Ramel about chewed me out. There you go. There's a number 3. And this one is a number 5. So we put it in the number 5 slot. I always open my zipper tape a bit, make sure it's pretty clean. I might have to trim those ends. Or maybe not. Yep, guess not. So either one will work, let's say, in a Santorini tote or in a zipper pouch. It really doesn't matter. It just depends on the look you're going for. Let me show you this bag. This is a companion carpet bag in the small size. And inside there is a zipper pocket. And we put a number 3 zipper in here. Just because this is a smaller area, and the person that sewed this, she liked the look of the number 3 in here best. Now, if I were making it and I only had number 5 zippers at home, I would totally put a number 5 in there and nothing would be wrong. It's really personal preference, and you can adjust your seam allowance if you don't want so much zipper tape showing. You can always attach your zipper so that you get right up tight close to the teeth and hardly any zipper tape opens or shows. Or you can sew it more towards the outer edge and then you're going to see a lot of zipper tape showing. It just depends what you want. It's kind of fun to have a little pop-up zipper, especially if they're funky. I'm known for putting leopard zippers in almost every bag I make for myself because that's what I like. So there it is. We have tons of number 5 zipper tape and pulls in the shop. We have navy blue and pink number 3. Let me grab them. And we will have number 3 in black and white stripe with silver teeth and black and white stripe with rainbow teeth. That should be launching very soon if it hasn't already. So 3 kinds of number 3 zips and a plethora of number 5 zips. So another part of the zipper discussion is when to use number 3 or number 5 or number 4.5 if you have those. And in my honest opinion, I don't think it really matters a whole heck of a lot. There are things you can do like adjusting your seam allowance and where you're sewing to account for less width or more width. But I'm going to show you a few examples of what I mean, and then I'll show you my zippers here. So for instance, in this Santorini tote, in the pattern I call for number 5 zippers on all the zipper pockets, and if you're doing the recessed zipper or the regular zipper at the very top, number 5. And the reason for that is because I like the way the number 5 is a little chunkier and sturdier and easier to grab. I have these easy grip pulls and I have flat bevel pulls, and we have puffy hearts and flowers as well, but they're just a little bit bigger and
therefore I think easier to use and function. When you're sewing the number 5 in, it has a little bit wider tape so that sewing it in is easier as well. I mean, it's not hard to sew a number 3 in, but that's just, I guess, personal opinion. On this Lola bag, I also used a number 5 on this outside zipper, as well as a number 5 for the top zipper. The number 5s have, with that wider tape, it can be fun to use a patterned tape. So if you have bananas, for instance, or stripes, and you want more of it to show, it's easier to do with the number 5 zipper. Now on this mountain saddle bag, which I happen to love, I'm going to take you overhead and show you the number 3 zipper that's inside. See this pocket? It's a little bit smaller, and the bag is a smaller bag. And so I did follow the pattern instructions, and I used a number 3 size zipper in there. So if I could have used a number 5 or number 4.5 on that pocket, it really wouldn't have made a whole heck of a lot of difference, if any at all, and it wouldn't have mattered. So a lot of times, if a pattern is telling you specifically what size to use, it could be because of the way the pattern pieces fit together. And so if you're going to substitute a bigger zipper, a wider zipper for, let's say they're calling for number 3, which is less wide, you want to read ahead and make sure that if there needs to be a seam allowance adjustment, that you're doing that. If I'm 100% honest, I never bother. It really has never made a difference for me at all. So that's just me, though. You will find bag police out there who will absolutely say I'm wrong, and they are entitled to that opinion. But I know how many bags I've made. Thousands upon thousands. I've sold bags. I have never had an issue substituting for whatever I had there in a pattern. On this ruby bag example, it is a smaller bag, but I wrote it the way I like bags, which is for that number 5 size zipper, both on each pocket and for the top closure. Can you sub number 3 zippers? Of course you can. Of course you can. Go ahead, do it. Even if your bag ends up being, let's say, a 1/4 inch less tall, it doesn't change the bag that much. It still works. I think there's something to be said for everyone to just take a deep breath and sew. Stop worrying so much about the little particulars that at the end of the day are really not going to determine whether your bag works or not. I see this a lot, especially on super easy patterns, like let's say the easy zipper cases. This person took too big of a boxed corner. Who cares? It still works out. The bag is still functional. It's still cute as heck. This ended up making a wider, squatter pouch, but it still worked. Her mistake, I actually like a lot. At the end of the day, if you try your best, pay attention to the directions, and just go for it, you're going to learn faster and better than if you just sit there and analyze. So don't get lost in those details. Just do it. If you end up making mistakes, it's okay. That's the best way to learn, in my opinion. I have to do things to really, really get it. And a lot of times, well, most of the time, more than once. So don't be too hard on yourself. This is sewing. It's meant to be fun, explorative, learning, and not super high pressure. So if you have any questions, please let us know. You can comment and we will get to it as soon as we see the comments, or you can always email. Don't be embarrassed, like my past school teachers used to say, and it's true. The only stupid question is one not asked. So just ask. If we don't get to it right away, I know somebody in the group is going to see it. And join us in the group if you're not there yet, the Facebook Makers group. Lots of people in there with lots of good advice, techniques, and new methods. And that is all part of it. We're all learning from each other. So, on that note, let's go sew. Peace, love, sewing.